I know what you're thinking and that this is probably a clickbait title or clickbait video with it being a one-shot, but no, as of Season 6, we got introduced to the Maelstrom dual trigger for the Lockwood 300, and a gun that was sort of neglected and kind of dropped because it just wasn't very good if you ever picked it up. Well, now there's a loadout for it where you can legitimately, literally, one-shot people with full plates at 300 health. I am not kidding you. The new trigger that we just got will in fact one-shot people with 3 plates. This is not a joke, it's insane, and it does have some quirkiness to it, but overall, it's absolutely disgusting what this thing is capable of. So let me show you guys the build that I've been using for this thing that I think you should try out. So here's the build I've been rocking. Now, I want to point out some important things. Basically, as long as you have this trigger on, you're going to one-shot kill someone. It doesn't matter how you kit it out, you can one-shot kill people with this thing. As long as you use the base ammo or Dragon's Breath, it's going to happen. I haven't tested it with slugs yet, but as long as you're running this attachment, the trigger, you're good to go. Now, the reason I'm kitting it this way is because you get a ton of range with that A12 barrel, you get a nice tight pellet spread with this choke, and the laser is to help with your aim down sight speed. Now, that's important because one thing about this build is that in its max damage range, which extends out to about the 2 to 3 meter mark, you can basically one-shot with this thing no matter what. If you're hip fire or aim down sights, it will in fact one-shot kill people. Now, the tricky thing is past that max damage range out to its first drop-off range, you can still one-shot kill people, but you have to be aiming down sights. This is a thing that's been with the Lockwood since it came out, where basically if you're hip firing, damage is capped at 3 pellets. If you're aiming down sights, it gets lifted and you're back at 4 pellets. So if you're going to use this thing, you want to aim down sights as much as you can, unless you're getting like point blank. If you really want to push range with this thing, then I recommend aiming down sights all the time. And that's why the Bryson choke combined with the A12 barrel really helps, because it super tightens and condenses that pellet spread to make your one shot more consistent. Like I said, as long as you have that trigger, it's gonna one shot. If you want to take off that barrel and rock a suppressor, you can do it. There's so many different ways to kit this thing out now, since it can one shot, that pretty much whatever build you make is going to be good. The build I focused on was range and aim down sight speed, because you want to be able to be snappy with your aim down sight speed, since I just explained it's better when you aim down sights and you can one shot out to further distances if you do aim down sights. Now let's talk the ranges. So the base gun, you can basically one shot out to about that 7 meter mark, and that's if you're fully aim down sights. That's kind of ridiculous that you can actually do that out to that far, which 7 meters in the grand scheme of things isn't really that much, but when you're inside, when someone walks through a doorway, you can one-shot them. I mean, it's insane. Now, if you have the 812 barrel and you're using that Bryson Series 12 choke to get a nice spread, you can actually one-shot people out to that 9 meter mark. Now, you can rock this with Dragon's Breath, and with Dragon's Breath, it's still equally as insane and crazy to use, but one thing I noticed is that when you're pushing range, it can actually one-shot out to about the 10 meter mark, but the thing is, it takes a little bit for the burn to kick in, so it's not this immediate boom, they're dead. It's like boom, and then it takes just a little bit for the burn to kill them. So honestly, I would say you probably don't need to rock Dragon's Breath. You can, but I would say swap out Dragon's Breath for another attachment to give you a little bit better aim down sight speed. It really just comes down to whatever you prefer, and honestly, I would say kit it out for aim down sight speed. So with that all out of the way, this kind of begs the question, is this overpowered? And I mean, yeah, it kind of is. Now, there's some things to help balance it and keep it in check, of course, like the fact that you only have one shot and you have to reload. But the thing is, with fast hands, that's not really an issue. I mean, yes, it is. If you miss your one shot, you're gonna die, probably. But the thing is, compared to how good it is when you hit that one shot, it's kind of absurd how strong it is. Now, a lot of people might argue that it's overpowered. Some might argue it's not, because the one shot and then a reload kind of balances out. But we're in Warzone 2 now, where things don't really one shot and snipers don't one shot. And it's just kind of crazy that now we have a shotgun that can do it so absurdly well that it's just kind of bananas. And in my opinion, this could be a problem. I really legitimately think this could be a problem. And the fact is, if you're a ranked player, this isn't banned in ranked as far as I know. You can go into ranked play and use this thing. It's kind of crazy. And so with that, I'm not going to get too into my opinion on it, but I do want to know what you guys think, and I would like to know down below in the comments, what do you think about the fact that this trigger now can make the gun one shot? Do you think that's fair and balanced? Do you think it's almost there but needs some tweaking? Do you think it should never, absolutely in any circumstance, one shot kill? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next shotgun video.